Everyone, welcome to today's Ball and Chain. We're going back to our traditional way of working, so we'll cover football first and then we'll move on to crypto and summarise what's happened in an absolutely brilliant week for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. The storm is playing havoc across the UK. Will that affect UK's games today? It looks like they're all going ahead. But those treacherous conditions might make for very interesting results as the day pans out. Let's see. Okay, let's get on with the show. Grab a cup of coffee, sit back, strap in, and let's go. Okay, let's start the show with the Europa League up first. Bologna played out a draw against Freiburg. Braun beat Utrecht in a very good result, 1-0. Celtic lost to Sporting Braga. Sporting Braga playing very well, but surprised that Celtic didn't even get a goal at home. What does that say about Celtic, and what does that say about their European charge this season? Is it over before it's even started? Young Boys had beaten Steaua Bucharest 2-0. Good result for Fenerbahce at home to Nice. Betis, as expected, beat Ludogorets away, but it's always a tough game away at Ludogorets, so a very good result for Betis. It was 0-0 at half-time between Panathinaikos and Go Ahead Eagles, so a fantastic second half there, and a very good away result in Panathinaikos for Go Ahead Eagles. Lille played out again, another great rate. If you'd have had some aways in this tournament, you'd have done pretty well. Unfortunately, I didn't. I had a number of both teams to score, of which Roma did let me down, of which Stuttgart did let me down. Not done particularly well lately, I must admit, on our tips and bets this week. It's been very disappointing. Roma, again, one would expect them to score, wouldn't you, and be strong at home, but they didn't, and Lille got a fantastic result away. Plitzen won 3-0 against Malmo, both teams having a player sent off as well in that game, particularly Fire. Basel played out a 2-0 draw, Sakiri working his magic there. With a 2-0 victory against Stuttgart. Very good result for them. Celta Vigo beat POC 3-1 at home. Villa continue their revival. They won at weekend against Fulham, and now another great result away against Feyenoord. Are they back? Are Villa back? Are we going to see the Villa of last season? Has Emery turned things around and got his team firing again? We'll find out this weekend. What do you think, though? Do you think Villa are back, or do we think they're still struggling? Let me know in the comments. Let's look at some of the other games. Zagreb, great result against Maccabi Tel Aviv. Good result for them. Forest, beleaguered Forest, I think, at the moment. There's a lot of pressure on Ange Postecoglou, isn't there? Following this baffling appointment, really, and getting rid of Nuno. Something clearly happened with the chairman. We saw some signs of it last season. Started reasonably okay this season, but clearly the chairman wanted results. Right from day one, expected straight wins. That didn't happen, and unfortunately Nuno was sacked. And just come in, and he's not had a great start. 6 games, no wins yet, and I think the face of the chairman said it all. He had a face like thunder after the game, and it was all over the media. Even the fans saying you're going to get sacked in the morning to Ange, which I know all too well, having been a Sheffield United fan and experienced that earlier this season. Is he going to get changed, and what will they do? They can't get Nuno back. He's gone to another club. He's contracted to West Ham now. So what will happen? What do you think, Forest fans? How's that going to play out? Do you think Nuno, what will happen with Ange? Do you think he'll give him more time? Well, he feels like he's been sat there 2 weeks, doesn't it? In the hot seat. But that's not a great start for him. To be fair, though, there has been some really challenging games. Like Arsenal away, I think, was his first game. You know, he can't get much tougher than that. Arsenal are a very, very well-drilled team, especially at home. Lyon played out a great result in home to beat Salzburg, and that's been pretty good for the French teams, hasn't it? Nice, Lyon, and Lille all winning in this tournament. If you'd had a French triple, you'd have done pretty well there. Porto left it very late against Red Star Belgrade. I think it was a 90th minute winner there. And Rangers continue their poor form this season with a defeat against Sturm Graz. Sturm Graz are a good team, though, but I think it just compounds the form that they've had recently. And the pressure on Russell Martin. Going down to the Conference League, Super Palace, Kiev is, going to Ukraine is a tough place to go, and especially playing teams in Ukraine at home, they're traditionally really strong. So Palace to go and get a 2-0 victory there, again, continues their fantastic form. Can they continue this momentum? Like, they're playing 2 games a week most weeks in Cup and in Europe, and then the league, and they're smashing it in all 3. Can that continue? Let me know. I think Glasner, as I said before, Glasner is a fantastic coach. I'll be majorly shocked if he's still at Palace next year. Not that Palace aren't a good team, not that they've not got fantastic players. It's just if Man U, Liverpool or a Chelsea or an Arsenal come calling, I think that's his next step. His next step is to go to that elite level that's challenging for top end of Europe and big spending, and I think he'll do fantastic. If I was Man U, he would be my man. I would go straight for him, to be honest. Forget Southgate. Let's talk about Southgate coming in. I don't think he's got the credentials and the experience playing domestic football for him to take that role on. I think Glasner is your man. If Man U are going to get back anywhere, not that I'm a Man U fan, but if Man U are going to get back anywhere, Glasner is the person to go for. Okay, let's keep going. Lausanne played out a very good result against a team I cannot pronounce. Lechia Poznan won 4-1 against Rapid Vienna. Let's have a look. Any other Mainz, expected win in Cyprus. Real Vallecano, expected win. I don't think there's any. Shakhtar Donetsk had they were expected to win by a pretty wide margin if you looked at the odds. And Aberdeen gave them a really good game. They had a very early penalty. Shakhtar Donetsk came into it, were winning 2-1. I think they actually went 3-1 up, and then Aberdeen made it a bit squeaky at the end, but Shakhtar got the points and the win. Fiorentina got a standard 2-0 result, which one would expect there. And Strasbourg beat Slavia Bratislava 2-1, and Sparta Prague got a great result against Shamrock Rovers. Again, I'm not really going to cover that in too much detail. I think all the expected results come in. I think the next round will be very interesting fixtures, because I think there's some key matchups. But that summarises the European League, the Europa League, and also the UEFA Conference League results that happened this week. Right, let's move on to the exciting bit now. Let's talk about the Premier League and results that are happening this week. But before we start looking at the fixtures, we just need to look at last night's result. What a fantastic result again for Bournemouth. Their form continues. I think they're up to second in the league now as a result of this win. Fulham did get off to a good start. They had no recognised number 9 or striker on the field though for this game. They had to play Alex Iwobi up front. Not that Alex Iwobi is a bad player, but he's definitely not a centre forward. But anyway, Fulham did take the lead through Sessegnon. He scored a fantastic goal. And then that man, Semedo, came in and equalised. He then set up Kluivert for the second, and he then scored the third. If you captained him for FPL, you would be laughing this week. I didn't, sadly, but I've got them as a robot. I've got Haaland. He's your standard captain. If you don't captain, he's just lob him as captain. He'll deal with that, I'm sure. So I'm not worried about that. I'm just glad I've got Semedo in my team. What a fantastic player, and what a fantastic season he's having. So that's last night's game. Great result for Bournemouth. So previewing the fixtures for this week, let's go and look at the rest of them that are happening today. So not a lot of fixtures. It's a weird split because of all the European football and the pretty poor weather. We've got 4 matches happening in the Premiership today. We've got Leeds against Tottenham making the early kick-off today. I think that's going to be an exciting game. I'm expecting both teams to score in that one. Arsenal to play West Ham. Nuno's revitalised West Ham. So I think that'll be a lot tougher game than the odds and paper are predicting. They've got Arsenal running away with it a country mile, and had Graham Potter been involved, I would have probably said that's a fair result. However, Gabriel's a doubt for this game, and we've also got West Ham. After that great comeback against Everton and reasonable performance, can they snatch something against Arsenal? I think it's a stretch. I do think Arsenal will win, but I think it'll be quite a tight game. Or maybe have goals, because West Ham will go for it in the second half like they did against Everton if they're a goal down. Then got Manchester United against Sunderland. Now this is a really, really interesting fixture for me. Amorim is under real pressure. Sunderland are flying high and playing very well. The most confident you're probably going to get them. I'm thinking this is going to have goals. I'm thinking there's going to be goals, and I wouldn't want to call it. I suspect Sunderland might come away with a point here, or nick a cheeky 1-0 win. It could be that tight. Their defence has been awesome this season, so let's see. I'm really interested. That is one to watch. That is going to be a very, very interesting game. And then the big fixture, arguably maybe of the weekend, at 5:30, sees Chelsea take on Liverpool. Liverpool lost the last 2 games. Losing to Palace at the weekend and then losing to Galatasaray in midweek. Can they come back? Tough fixture when you've had 2 defeats and then you're at Chelsea. That's going to be a tough game for them. Chelsea are playing very well. But will João Pedro finally foul? He's been blanking for the last few weeks. Is he going to step up in the biggest game and play well? I must admit, I benched him, and I've also benched Ben Dijk because I expect there to be goals in this game. I'm expecting at least a score draw in that game as well. But let's go through the other fixtures. So on Sunday we've got a marathon, haven't we, at games? Look at all those games. So we've got Villa taking on Burnley at 2 o'clock again. Is this Villa's opportunity to start to really kick on? They've won the last two. This seems like a banker for them. If they're really going to get up that table, this is a game that they must win. However, Burnley are no mugs. They're really good at defending. They're really good at keeping things tight and staying disciplined. So Villa will have to break those lines if they're going to get anything from Burnley. Everton are playing Crystal Palace at 2 o'clock. Again, both teams, I'm expecting not many goals. I think it'll be an incredibly tight game. I'm expecting like Palace 1-0 or something like that. Newcastle playing Forest. Again, it's not a great game for Ange, this one, is it? It's going to be really tough. Newcastle flying high after their 4-0 victory over Union in the Champions League. Voltemade is playing very, very well. Their giant striker and their wingers, Gordon and Elanga, were fantastic and electric against Union. So let's see what happens when they take on Forest. I'm not feeling very well for Forest in that game. Wolves playing Brighton. Brighton have been mixed. It's been typically the both teams to score. Wolves have definitely, the last two games have definitely seen a marked improvement. So I'm expecting that to be quite a tight game. Maybe a few goals, maybe 1-1, something like that. Maybe a sneaky 2-1 for Brighton again. They beat Chelsea 3-1 after a sending off for Chelsea in the last match, in the last round. What's going to happen? Then the final fixture of the day is Brentford against Manchester City. Now, Brentford are surprising everyone. Keith Andrews has done a great job. Everyone is expecting when Thomas Martin went, they sold Mbeno, they sold Visser, everyone's thinking this team are in trouble. But they've managed to grind out results. They're not playing too bad. It's a good test for City. However, it's City. Haaland's on fire. He got another 2 goals at the week during the week and last weekend. That's 4 in 2 games. He's got to be on the score sheet surely against Brentford. He was the difference maker against Monaco. The team really didn't play for him. I thought Haaland actually carried the team with his goals. Are they going to step up and play better this weekend? Let me know in the comments. So I've gone through all the Premier League fixtures this weekend. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with my analysis? What do you think? Which one's the standout fixture? Do you think we're going to get any shocks and surprises this weekend? Or is it all going to go to plan and the favourites romp away and win? What do you think? Let me know. Okay, let's move on to the Championship. Last night, Wrexham and Birmingham played out a predictable score draw. I think we all thought both teams would score. Wrexham are a banker really this season. Most games have had both teams to score. I would probably bank on them every week now, every time they play, to be both teams to score. They're quite vulnerable, but very exciting. Great games to watch when there's goals, isn't there? So they played out a 1-1 draw, which I don't think was anybody's surprise with the form of the two teams. Let's look at the rest of the games today. So we've got a couple, 3 early kickoffs. Sheffield are all kicking off early today, so we're all very early getting ready for our games. Blackburn are playing Stoke early on. Again, a bit of a derby there, isn't it? In sort of the Lancashire side of it. We've got Hull against United, which is a very, very distant Yorkshire derby, kind of. So there is some animosity between the Tigers and the Blades. Hull did beat us in a playoff final. I don't think we've ever forgiven them for that. But yeah, fair play, they won. So yeah, and it's the McBurney derby for me as well. So Ollie McBurney returns to Sheffield United. Wilder saying that he wishes that he should be a United player. He's not, and he's on fire for Hull. You know what's going to happen. But put your money on McBurney to score against us. It's going to happen today, unfortunately. A lot of people are saying the Sheffield United 1-0 victory. I think that's given us a lot of credit. I think Hull will be up for it. Any other team away after the performance against Southampton, where we played really well. Let's not talk about the ref. I would have been saying, I think we'll do all right. I'm expecting a 1-1, 2-2 draw, and that's saying something for us to get 2 goals. We've struggled this season to score. And we'll have doubled our tally for the season if we did do that. So my hope is that Tyrese has another cracker. He looked a bit better. Missed a second chance that he should have scored really, and he'll be disappointed with. But I'm predicting that to have a few goals in it, and hopefully I'll take a point away with the way we're playing at the moment. It's steady things. We're in a relegation scrap, and I can't believe I'm saying that. Sheffield Wednesday play Coventry. Tough game, Coventry on fire, but Sheffield Wednesday have shown some real heart and fight. Pains me to say, but it's great for them. Fair play. They've not been paid, and those guys are stepping up for their club and playing really well, and I think the fans got to appreciate that. Coventry on fire under Lampard is playing really well. They're one of the favourites for promotion this year, having missed out very closely to quite arguably, Sunderland sneaked in that extra time win. And seemed to do everything late, didn't they, last season, Sunderland? But they're definitely making the most of it in the Premier League. So can Coventry, I'm expecting Coventry to get a result against Sheffield Wednesday. I'd be surprised if they didn't. But Sheffield Wednesday have been full of surprises this season, so maybe they'll surprise us. Bristol City take on Queen's Park Rangers, Derby, Southampton, Millwall, West Brom, Portsmouth, Middlesbrough, a flying Middlesbrough. Preston taking on Charlton. Preston playing very well at the moment under Hickenbottom. Swansea taking on Leicester, and Watford and Oxford, which is arguably again another bottom end of the table 6-pointer between those two. I'm expecting both teams to score in that one. I'm expecting both teams to score in Bristol, Queen's Park Rangers. What else am I looking at? I'm thinking Middlesbrough should get a result against Portsmouth. They've been a bit hit and miss. Millwall are hit and miss at the moment, so are West Brom going to capitalise on that? It'll be an interesting day. Lots of 12:30 kickoffs. It seems to be a regular thing, doesn't it, now in the Championship, with 12:30 kickoffs happening quite a lot. So let's see how that plays out. Middlesbrough topping the pile at the moment, but very closely followed by Coventry at the moment. So those two are definitely vying for that top spot come 5 p.m. today. Let's have a look into League One. We've got Donny taking on Burton. Now, Burton seem to have a bit of resurgence, and Donny are going for a sticky patch. However, I think Doncaster will come through this. Wickham, who are resurgent at the moment, are playing Barnsley. I'm expecting score draw maybe for that. Both teams to score, certainly. Blackpool, again, resurgent, but playing against away a very, very good Wimbledon team who have resurged. I think they've got 4 wins in the last 5. So I'm expecting double chance on that one, draw or win for Wimbledon. However, it's coast and the winds are terrible today. Will that have a factor? Will the weather have a factor in this game? Bolton take on Peterborough. Both teams pretty resurgent. See what happens there. Cardiff got a very surprising defeat to Burton in midweek. That was a coupon buster, certainly was for me. Take on Leyton Orient. Huddersfield take on Stockport, which has got to be a banger for both teams to score, surely. Lincoln are playing very well at the moment. They're taking on Exeter. I'm expecting a Lincoln win there. Plymouth, again, stepping up a little bit. Wigan look like they're struggling. Expecting a Plymouth win there. So I've had a League One triple, which is not what I normally do, but the odds are so good for this. Maybe for a reason. Who knows? I've had a Wimbledon double chance, win or draw. I've had Lincoln to beat Exeter. Considering Lincoln's form and Exeter's poor form, and considering Plymouth's home form and revival against a Wickham a Wigan that are mixed, I've gone for that treble. Port Vale take on Northampton, Reading take on Mansfield, which I've got that in my both teams to score bet. I've got Huddersfield and Stockport, and Reading and Mansfield, both teams to score. And then Stevenage take on Luton, which might be a both teams to score game, considering Luton have lost a large portion of their players. Moving into League 2, we've got a few 12:30 kickoffs again there. Milton Keynes Dons take on Gillingham. Gillingham again got a surprising defeat, or maybe not, to Harrogate last weekend, and then didn't play particularly well during the week. And MK Dons haven't been great, so I'm surprised that Gillingham are so lowly rated, but they've not been playing great. So we'll see what happens in that. I'm expecting maybe both teams to score in that one. Newport struggling this season, but seem to be fighting back quite a bit, but still losing games. Swindon are flying at the moment. They've had a very good run of form. I'm expecting Swindon away win there. Barnet take on Accrington. Borough take on Shrewsbury. Bromley, Tranmere. I'm going to go with both teams to score in this game. If Tranmere let me down for a second week running, they are done with me. Cambridge take on Crawley, expecting a Cambridge win, but not put money on it. Cheltenham take on Fleetwood. Again, struggling Cheltenham. Fleetwood arguably would be. So if I was going to have a little flutter on League 2, I'd have Cambridge to win, I'd have Fleetwood to win as a little double, because Crawley are struggling and Cheltenham are struggling at the moment. Colchester take on Chesterfield. Notts County take on Oldham. Salford take on Grimsby, which to me is another both teams to score bet. Salford are great for that. Very much the Wrexham of League 2 for both teams to score. And Walsall take on Bristol, which is a high-end clash. That could go either way. It's either going to be both teams to score, or it's going to be a 0-0 draw, because both teams want to play it tight, because they're right up there at the top of the league, and this is kind of a promotion 6-pointer there. Okay, that is all the leagues previewed. We are at the end of the show. So, I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about this weekend fixtures? Will the storm that's rampaging across Britain and wrecking everybody's gardens, fences, garden furniture, third world problems, isn't it? First world problems. But ravaging across the country. Will that impact any of the games? We've not had any postponements yet. Will we see that later? How will the dramatic sort of winds and pressure play out on any of these games up and down the country, up and down the leagues? Let me know your thoughts. Who's your team playing? Do you think they're going to win? Do you think the Storm's going to have an impact? How do you think the tables will be at the end of today? Let me know in the comments, and please, please, please like and share this video. It helps me get more reach, and the more you can do to help me, the more content that inspires me to create for you. Okay, thanks very much. Have a great rest of your day and enjoy the football today. Hey everyone, welcome to the crypto part of the show. I'm smiling, it's been a great week, but we'll cover that in a minute. Again, just going to focus on the US shutdown. It's still shut down and it looks like it's going to continue into next week as the Senate has voted against spending plans. So I'm just going to summarise it and use the BBC to help me explain this. So, Senators vote for a fourth time to reject US spending proposals to reopen government, meaning the government will shut down, will extend. So basically, there's a spending proposal that has gone to the House and the Senate, and they cannot align, and they're all rejecting it, which is why we've got a government shutdown, leading to a number of redundancies. Well, actually, no, sorry, I shouldn't say redundancies. I should say furloughs. They've not actually decided to cut jobs yet. They've just laid people off for the moment, still paid but not working. Or actually, some of them aren't being paid at the moment. They've been furloughed off the payroll until the government opens back up. But every day that passes on a shutdown has economic impact, because that means that things aren't getting done for the government. Money's not getting spent, things aren't getting processed, and that will have a backlog that will have an impact on the US economy. Every day this goes on is plunging more and more difficulty for the US government. Why do I mention that? Because this has an impact, will have an impact on the dollar eventually. And therefore, it is an impact on the dollar that correlates to stocks and risk on assets like cryptocurrency. So it is something we need to keep an eye on. I think it's also worth saying that we had the Token 49 conference that seems to have been going really well in Singapore. Lots of positivity coming out here. We've not seen many stories, though, about projects really, or bullish narratives coming from it yet. I thought Eric Trump was supposed to be talking and was going to probably talk and pump the markets up. That doesn't seem, there's no stories coming out about that. So maybe we'll come into that next week and more of that will surface. But I think it's been predominantly overtaken by the government and by the US government, going into what is in effect shutdown. I think this is interesting. Before the White House press secretary said mass layoffs are an enviable choice. Donald Trump says the shutdown could have an opportunity to make lasting cuts. So it looks like this is an opportunity for Donald to go in. I'm talking about like he's my mate. He's not. For Trump to go in and really, really start to, finish what Doge started. They went in to clean up the government, to rapidly fire people in different departments. It looks like this is going to give them the opportunity to do that. Doesn't look well for the job numbers. Again, is this Trump trying to manipulate? I mean, maybe my tinfoil hat's on, I need to take it off. And I'm just hypothesizing here. I don't know, I've not got anything, but interesting if he lays a lot of people off and mass layoffs take place in the government. That will affect jobs numbers, which are, as we know, are a key metric that the Fed use when looking at interest rates. Just saying. And Trump has been putting a lot of pressure on Powell to cut interest rates. I don't know. Maybe I'm putting one on one together and coming out with the wrong number. Let's see. All right. Anyway, onto the good news. Let's change the mood completely. Let's get into the good news. Well, what a week! What a week for cryptocurrency, right? I'm just going to show you this because it's just nice to see. Look at that for Bitcoin. 10%, no, 12% in 7 days. That has gone up. Uptober, that is Uptober. That is what we were looking for. That is what we wanted. And now we are seeing it. Bitcoin has teased all-time highs. It got up to 123,000, nearly 100. I think it was about 123,800, which is only nearly $400 off all-time high. We are so close to all-time high. so early on. Well, we knew all-time highs would get. No, we didn't. Nobody knows anything. We were very, very, very confident all-time highs would hit in October, and we're so confident by the 4th, of October. So this is a really positive sign. We may get a pullback next week. Sometimes that happens after you get so close. So we got a rejection. We need to push on past all-time highs if we are gonna. And October's Bitcoin's month, right? So we push past that all-time high, break into new territory, and see where that goes. My view is I don't think we can be too ambitious, right? There's so much resistance above 125k that I think look at those psychological levels. You got 125k, 130k, 140k, and then 150k has got to be the biggest one. I can't see us breaking that. I think if we get to 130k this cycle, from a low of about 17 to 130, that is a phenomenal return. Like if you got in and bought a lot at 17k, which, hindsight's a wonderful thing. I was buying last year, but I tailed off as it went really down. It was my first ever time buying in a bear market, and I must admit, I didn't sell. I wouldn't sell, but I didn't go in hard because I've never experienced that before. Same with a bull market. I've not really experienced I got the tail end of the last one, and to be honest, last November we saw a big push for alts, and now I know. Now I've learned that. Like I invested a lot last November. No, not too much. I invested bits though in November last year, and now realise that I got bull caught. It's great learning though for me. I feel like this journey has been amazing. These last 3 years have taught me so much about cryptocurrency, so much about the markets, and I feel really prepared now for next year's. Like I've talked a lot about FET and me getting in FET at like 50 cents and watching that rise up to $3, taking zero profit because I was greedy and I wanted to get up to $6. I should have started taking profit at $2. I should have started taking profit. When it gets to 5x, you've got to start taking chips off the table. I didn't. I round tripped it completely, and now it's back down. And as I was buying up, so I bought up to about $1. So as long as FET gets up to $1, I'll get my money back. But you've got to think, if I'd have put that money into Bitcoin, I would be laughing now. Like I would be laughing. And that was my biggest mistake. Like Bitcoin has been the leader of this market, apart from a few other alts. Lately we've seen Solana outpacing Bitcoin, but only recently. So if you're long-term hodling, like Bitcoin's daddy, just like I have learnt that so much this year. Thank God though, I put quite a lot of money, most of my capital into Bitcoin and not into any other cryptocurrency. Like Ethereum I put quite a bit into as well, but I've got a decent return on that. Probably not the same level as Bitcoin, but let's see what next month is. I'm not saying I've failed yet. I am waiting for November and December because that's when alt season really is going to come on upon us. So let's see. Okay, let's go up and down the charts and enjoy seeing some of these amazing numbers. So Bitcoin 12% nearly, Ethereum 12%, great rise there. It got up to 4.5k. It needs to push to 5. It's got to push 5. Again though, it's got time. This could happen in November. So just seeing it going positively is what we want to see. XRP back up above $3. Can it hold above there? Let's see. BNB continues. Wow, BNB has been a massive winner, has it? 20%. It's over a K. I remember looking at BNB. I think it was free. No, it might have been $200 last year. But I don't really get exchange tokens. So this has been quite a surprise winner. But we know CZ's been messing and flipping the market. So is this his control that's done that? Solana up 13%. It's good to see that rising back up and getting near the 250 mark. That's always a key level for it. Doja's done well, 10%, but still, it's not done bad. It's not doing bad. 25 cents now. Again, will it reach that $1 mark? Everyone's talking about that. Cardano, let's see. Chainlink not done as well as everybody else. I'm quite surprised by that. But maybe it's at its pump. Maybe $20 odd is where we're going. I'd be surprised. There's so much bullish news about Chainlink. I'm really surprised people aren't aping into that, to be honest. Hype continues to perform well. A lot of people saying that 48, it's got a lot more to run. Will it run? Hype's been definitely the big winner in this bull market, hasn't it? Definitely been a strong one. So we're up 10%, continues to do well. Will it get up? I mean, we've been teetering around this $3.5, $4 mark has been a top. Is it going to break through that? Are we going to experience that? Stellar doing very well, up 10%. WEF doing well, but that's Raptif, so it doesn't matter. Litecoin again has been quite an interesting one. These are old school Zcash, Litecoin seem to have done pretty well of late and seems to be pumping. A lot of people are saying that's near the top, but we know it's near the top. Like, we know we're close to the top. I think by the end of this year we'll top. But let's see. We could super cycle it into 2026. It's really hard to know because with this government, you don't know what we've got. A lot of bullish news coming, like with the SEC. Announcing, these Genius Act and all of the stuff happening in America. And if America open the doors, will the rest of the world follow? And if that happens, we could see a real step change in 2026 for crypto. But just remember, we might not. So if your coins are pumping this year, take some profits. I definitely need to do that. Like, I'll be gutted if it continues to go up, but my plan is once I've sold it, don't look at it again, apart from when I do my videos and cry in front of you guys. But like, my plan is to just sell. I track my stuff on CoinGecko like most people do. Obviously I'm not showing you on here, but like, we track our stuff, and when I sell, I'm deleting it off CoinGecko, off my watch list. I'm hoping that I've only got Bitcoin and maybe Ethereum, depending on how things go. But I don't want to be holding anything other than that into next year. And if I don't make as much, then fine. On some coins, I'm going to have to accept that and take it. But I'd rather be safe and have my money either in USDC or USDT and in Bitcoin going into next year. All right, Cron seems to be doing well, 14%. Polkadot 10%. Again, is that, I mean, if you can get anywhere near $5 to $8, that might be all right. It's really struggled this cycle. Monero up 12%. OKB 20%. It's done very well. I know that sponsored or did a lot with in Singapore, and also sponsored. I think it did a lot of sponsoring and sent a lot of influencers to the F1, and they were all shilling that. So obviously it's pumped. Because and you see 24 hours, the influencers have been shilling. OKB has done its job. It's paid for a few influencers to go to the F1. They've shilled the coin, and everyone's aped in. Watch it. But I mean, I don't be buying it now. Like 20% pump. It's due for a correction, isn't it? As a result of that, let's go back down. Are they doing all right? It's been pretty good, this market, but we need that pumping. We need RV pumping. It's an old school pump. Let's see that happen. Pepe up 7%. Let's have a look. Aptos up 31%. Loads of bullish news about Aptos. I was looking at that at $3. I think it was $3.48. And I didn't bother because I felt I've got in that one. I would have confidently gone into that. I didn't because I've got too many alts and I just didn't want to be holding another one. But that's one, I don't regret it, but it's one that you knew were going to pump. There was so much news coming out of that, it was just inevitable. Store rate, again, it's the up and down. It's great for trading, isn't it? Depending on how swing trading with that. It's done 20% turn when it went down, so it's doing well. Let's have a look. What else we got? Any other big move? Pump. Again, that's great for trading, isn't it? Up 40% in the last week. Wow. I think there's some token unlocks happening for Pump and Sui this month, so keep an eye on that. Not sure what that's going to do to price, so keep an eye. Just be wary of that. When these token unlocks happens, it can change things. Zcash I talked about earlier, 142% increase. Who saw that coming? If you did and got into it, get out now. Great result. Well done. Take your profits. Take your glow and take the win. What else we got? Anything else that's really jumping out? Pudgy Penguins up 10%. Continues to grow. Doing pretty well. I think that might be a surprise, that one. We'll see. What else? Hash Blockchain up 11%. I think that's really it. Quant up 13%. I think we talked about that earlier this week, didn't we? About Quant being largely linked to the British government and opportunities there for compliance. FET continues to be really, really disappointing. Again, it's my biggest regret for round tripping. I lost the opportunity to take some really good gains off, and I messed that one up. That I'm always going to remember that, though. I think you remember a lot from your losses. Well, I've not really made that much of a loss, but it's more round tripping and paper based games that I've lost. Again, it wasn't a lot of money. I'm not crying because it could have been a lot worse. I didn't go all. I'm not putting thousands and thousands of pounds in, so I'm not that gutted. But it's just been a great learning experience for me. Let's put it down to that. That's probably the most polite way to say it. All right, let's look at dem bubbles. No surprise, Asta up there. Meme core and pump, the meme stuff like rolling in the last hour. But let's look at the day. So Floki's had a really great rate recovery. Yeah, that promised quite a lot. It went to quite obscurity, and now it's come back. It needs to rally a little bit more though, because I bought into it. I aped in again. I've made a lot of mistakes, but I've got smarter this year. None of that's happening again. Zek, wow, right up there. Cake rising up 33%. That's been a good one this week, and so has Floki. So keep an eye on those. Again, I aped into Cake, but what I did is, because it was a platform that allows you to it gives you that opportunity to be able to stake. I staked quite a lot of Cake in these farms. It was really weird how I'm not in these syrup farms, so I lobbed them in there and got quite a bit back. So that offsets some of my losses. But I do need Cake to pump, and I think I aped in at something stupid like $8. I mean, it was thick, and I got, this was in my early days, I bought Cake because some influencer was showing how you could stake it and make a shit ton back. I tried that, and yes, I made the money back, but the price dipped so much that it didn't really matter. Like, you could have got hundreds of those coins and you'd still be down. So I got influenced by that one. Again, all these things I'm telling you are fantastic lessons that I've learned. So I put a few £100 into that. So not thousands. So I'm not getting upset about it. It was a gamble. We'll see what happens this market. Like, I'm not expecting to make all to be in profit. Like I said, if I'd have put that money into Bitcoin, I'd have been better off. I hope you're listening to me. Hope you're learning what I'm saying, because there's a recurring pattern here, isn't there? That Bitcoin is crypto's not safe, but it's the safest safe bet you can put in crypto. If that makes any sense at all. It makes sense to me. Hopefully it makes sense to you. Let me know in the comments if it doesn't. I'll try and explain myself a little bit better. Let me know if you want me to cover any coins and do some analysis on particular coins. I do it at such a high level here because I think it's quite helpful just to give a like sentiment and vibe check that's going on right up and down the top 100 and also the coins. But do let me know if there's anything that you really want me to cover. Let's go fear and greed. We're in greed, 71. It stayed. We need to move it into extreme. Like, we're seeing it hit all times highs Bitcoin, and we're not even in extreme greed. So what does that tell you? We've got a long way to go yet. When it hits extreme greed, then we can start to get excited. So only at 71, it's still teetering on, like, just over neutral, but it's moving in the right direction, isn't it? October, definitely seeing greed. However, I don't think we're seeing retail greed. Which, when that happens, or are we going to see that this year? Do you think we're going to see major pump of retail interest, which is what's really sparked the rallies in previous years? The real bull market explosion has been when retail comes in. Now, Trump is suggesting that he's going to give every US citizen, as a result of the money that he's made off tariffs, $2,000 each. And if Americans get $2,000, there's going to be a few things they pump money into: drink, shitty clothes, Apple, or crypto. My hope is it goes into crypto, and all US citizens invest in crypto. Let's see what happens if that 2K comes off. Alt season, is it alt? No, it's not. And we can see that because of Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin has risen up, and alts are struggling to keep pace with Bitcoin, which again, it's all part of the October plan. We knew that was going to happen. Everything is going to plan at the moment, so touch wood, it continues. Because if it does continue like this in October, we know November and December are going to be phenomenal months for Bitcoin. So let's keep our fingers crossed on that one. Okay, that's going to end the show. So altcoin season, no, but it's all part of the plan. We didn't expect that in October. We're expecting alt season for real. Like you said, it's alt season, but not. For me, it's alt season when it's there for multiple days. We're not seeing that yet, and it's only been about 70 we've only hit on the alt season. We did get up to 80 a couple of days ago, or a couple of weeks ago, but I still think we need to be in that 90 and 100 mark to really signal that we are in alt season. So expecting that to hit in November. So just be patient, continue to wait out. Enjoy seeing these green though. It's beautiful, isn't it, when the price is going up like this? My plan isn't to sell my Bitcoin this cycle. I'm just enjoying seeing the returns on it, knowing that it'll dip next year. But that's the life of being a crypto investor. You gotta be able to take that volatility, and if you can't, don't get in crypto. It's not the game for you. It's gonna be way too stressful. Okay, so it's a gamble. Always Stay sensible. Only invest what you can afford to lose in crypto, but you've got to be prepared to hold. So if you're staying in crypto, hold it and hold it and hold it until you're ready to sell. Make sure you've got an ambition as well. I've got some goals that I want to achieve in crypto, and I'm not planning to sell like my Bitcoin or anything until it gets that. But I will sell my Bitcoin. Like, I am not going to hold into it forever. I've got some goals and I've got some ambitions, and that's what makes investing so much fun, but also so worthwhile, because if it comes off and you can reach those goals, then that's significant. It's massive milestones and can really change your life. So just remember that. Have a goal, have an exit strategy, have a plan, but enjoy the journey that we're on, because it's fun, right? All right, everyone, that's going to wrap the video up. Have a wonderful weekend. Hopefully we'll see green next week, and I can be having some more positive conversations with you in the world of crypto. Take care of yourself. Try to strap down if you're getting beaten by this storm, and stay safe out there, and have a wonderful weekend. See you all.